We're beginning at Proverbs, the 20th chapter and the 4th verse. Chapter 20 and the 4th verse. And I'm going to ask one of you to read in Spanish and the other in English, please, that 4th verse.
El perezoso no ara a causa del invierno, pedirá pues en la siega y no hallará.
A sluggard does not follow the season, so at harvest time he looks but finds nothing.
Okay, mine says the lazy man will not, he doesn't work. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't plow because of winter, he said. He will not, but he will beg. He won't plow, but he'll beg during harvest, and he'll have nothing. The enduring word commentary on this particular verse said, the lazy man will always find some excuse not to do his work. Have you noticed that? The person who say we need to do such and such, they always come up with a reason why they can't do what needs to be done. It's always too early or it's too late in the season to begin. It's always winter and the ground's too hard for plowing. Excuse me. Any excuse will work when the heart is not set on working. You can come up with any excuse. Winter designates the Palestinian rainy season, usually mid-October to around April. Since no sowing could be done, and it can't be done without plowing, that's for sure, the farmer waited for the first autumn rains to soften the ground. The sluggard, however, lacks the industry to plow from winter on. The only time that really mattered that needed to be plowed. The right time for planting was the rainy season. It's cold, wet, and unpleasant, and perhaps even uncomfortable, but that's what he used for his excuse. That's by Ross, the commentator Ross. Suppose it were not cold. What would he say, ladies? Huh?
When it's not cold, it's hot.
Oh, you hit it. Suppose it were not cold. Do you know what he would say? Oh, it's so hot. I can't plow. It's too hot to plow. The perspiration runs down my face, gets down in my eyes, on my cheeks. You wouldn't have me plowing in this hot weather, would you? Suppose it was neither hot nor cold. What do you think he'd say then? You have an excuse. I believe it's going to rain. And if it didn't rain, he'd say the ground was too dry. He would say anything. He would use any bad excuse to keep from working. His excuses to him is better than no excuse. A bad excuse holds better than no excuse at all. Okay? Anything, he'd use anything rather than go and do the work that he doesn't want to do in the first place. That's by Charles Spurgeon. The lazy man's work, his work really is begging. That's his work. He will do the work of begging, but having no reward from the work of his hands. He will even have to beg during harvest. Everybody's bringing in stuff, but he'll have to beg. And often his begging will go unrewarded, and he'll have nothing. He'll have nothing. But he doesn't have nothing because he can't have nothing. He has nothing because he won't have anything. Clark's commentary on this particular verse says, the sluggard will not plow. It is seldom that there is a season of very cold weather in Palestine. Okay? There can be very cold days from now and again with wind and rain and sleet. And they begin their plowing in the latter end of September, and they sow early. They sow their wheat early, around the middle of October. The meaning of this proverb, Proverbs 20:4, is the slothful man, under the pretense of unfavorable weather, neglects cultivating his land till the proper time has passed. That's just what he does. He's a lazy person. He's a lazy person. Kaufman's commentary says, this reminded him of the story of the grasshopper and the ant, Aesop's fable. How the grasshopper hops around in the warm weather, just eating on every little thing that's budding out. Okay, in the warm season. And the ant's busy working, storing of food for when he knows winter is coming. So you know what happens to the grasshopper when winter comes? He starts begging the ant for food because he's made no preparation. Provision for one's future, needs must be met at the expense of working at inconvenient times. It's not always convenient, is it? No. It's not always favorable. And under unfavorable circumstances. You know, I want to do that. It's kind of like Ma and Pa Kettle. I don't know if you all have ever watched that old black and white. I love it, with Marjorie Main, and I can't think of the gentleman that plays. But he says, they say, Pa, the porch is broke. Yeah, I'm going to get to that first chance again. And you know people like that. They keep saying, first chance again. Well, they have a chance right then. But they come up with, and they're waiting, they say, for ideal situations. But future plans for your needs need to be made, and you need to work, do an unfavorable and sometimes inconvenient circumstances. Matthew Henry's commentary says, note the evil of laziness and the love of ease. If there was ever a time we see it now in this generation. The evil of laziness. You get a job, they say, I want you to stack the, I'm not doing that. That's not my job description. That's not why I was hired. But when you came and applied for the job, you said, I really need it. I need this job. Mm-hmm. When you really need a job and you're really hungry, you do whatever they ask you to do so you can get done, unless you don't want to do something illegal. But that's the evilness of laziness and the love of ease. And we even raised our children to where they're lazy and they want everything easy, right? Let's just be honest. And so when you do that, they love eat. Oh, I have to pick that up and put it in the trash. My grandmother used to say, pick that up, throw that in the trash, and chew, and it wouldn't go in. She'd say, a lazy man does his work twice. Okay. It keeps men from the most necessary business, from plowing and sowing when the season is right. The sluggard, he has the ground, he has the ability. He can plow, but he will not do it. It's not that he can't do it. It's not that he doesn't have the tools he needs to do it. He just doesn't want to do it, so he doesn't do it. Though plowing time is not into the depth of winter, it borders on winter. They're not in snow and ice. You don't see anybody out plowing during that time of the year, but it's at the borders of it. Okay. Thus also, they are careless, many in the affairs of the soul, because any small difficulty, will frighten them from the most important duty. Anything that comes up will frighten them. Oh, I can't do that. I can't take the trash out. I've got a splinter in my finger. Any little thing will keep them from doing things. I don't read because I don't read that well. Any small thing will frighten them away from doing what's necessary to feed their souls. Okay. But good soldiers must endure hardness. If you're not taught to endure hardness, you're just not going to make it, because life is not always easy. And serving the Lord is not always smooth. Is it always smooth sailing? It's not. And as time goes on and wickedness keeps multiplying, it gets even harder, does it not? Because wickedness says right is wrong and wrong is right. And when you stand on God's word and do what's right, you're going to catch it somewhere or another. From some place or another. You're going to have some hard struggles. And the people that used to support you, they're going to quit supporting you. Is that correct or not? And the way the phone used to ring and they used to come by, it doesn't do that anymore. You just about know when it rings who it is. Oh, that's so-and-so. Because otherwise, you're not included. A good soldier has to endure hardness. Sometimes it's from those the closest to you. And that hurts. That's hard. But you got to stand on him. Trust in him. Lean on him. And he'll cover you with his comfort. Oh, it's leading right into the Sunday school lesson. He'll cover you with his comfort. And I read in the Sunday school book, the harder, or maybe in the lesson for the children, the harder the affliction, the greater the consolation. Isn't that good? The harder it gets, the more God comforts. He gives you strength to endure hardness as a good soldier. You know a soldier, he's out on the battlefield. he's crawling through water and mud and junk and blood and guts and all this. But a good soldier endures. Why? Because he has something on the inside to give him that comfort and that motivation to keep on keeping on. I have a song on my CD in the car. It ain't over until God says it's over. And another one says, my testimony is worth fighting for. Is it worth fighting for? My new home in glory is worth fighting for. His kingdom here is worth fighting for. My family is worth fighting for. That's a good soldier. My relationship with Christ is worth fighting for. So just anything that comes up, that's why he allows troubles. We have blessings amid trials. They strengthen us so that we are able to go through. We're able to make it through. It's not because God is sadistic and he wants you hurt. He's going to use that to strengthen you. And then when someone else is struggling, he'll let you go along up under them and guide them and tell them, this is what he did for me. He did this for me. And if he can do it for me, he can do it for you. Oh, what a mighty God we serve. What a mighty. But don't be like the lazy man. I can't. It's too hot, too cold. It's raining. It's too wet. It's too dry. It's too far. Too hard. You hear people say, "Oh, that's too easy. I don't want to do that." Just any excuse will do. Huh? Any excuse. Those that will not plow in seed time cannot expect to reap in harvest. Now that we can put aside up there. That's a good one. Those that will not plow. You see people like that. They want the acclamations and the attention. But when it's time to do the work, they come up with an excuse. Oh, did you mean for me? Did you want me to do that? It's only two people in the room, you know. And I'm doing my part, you know. But they come up with a reason why, okay? But if you don't plow in seed time, don't expect a harvest. He will not submit to the labor of plowing, but he will submit to the shame of begging. Wow. He will not submit to the labor of plowing, but he will submit to the shame of begging. You heard people say there's no shame in her game. It's no shame at all. The Bible Knowledge Commentary says, without effort and advanced planning, there are few results. Lack of work leads to lack of benefits. Believer's Bible Commentary says, without the plowing, there cannot even be any planting. Without planting, there can be no harvest. No plowing, no planting. No planting, no harvest. So he goes out looking for the grain. Now he hasn't plowed, he hasn't planted, he hasn't sown anything, but he goes out looking for grain in the fields and wonder why it's not there. Another thing my grandmother, people say, soon as my ship come in, she said, well, you got to have a ship out there before it can come in. Soon as my ship come in, I'm going to do something. Well, you haven't done anything. There's no ship out there. But everybody's looking for the easy way. They love ease. Okay. They love ease. No planting, no harvest. No plowing, no planting. Because if you just got to throw some seeds on top of the ground, they're not going to germinate. You need to dig down in that dirt and plant them in there. Tend to it. Water, watch it. Watch for insects. You have to do a lot. It's a lot of work in there. You don't just throw them out and you go in there and sit in the house. Wait, it doesn't work like that. But you got many people. They've made no plans. They've planted absolutely nothing. And they're waiting for my ship will be in after a while. No ship out there. J. Vernon McGee of Through the Bible says, Israel has a moderate climate, and winter is the season for preparing the soil for the spring planting. The sluggard would say it's too cold. He'll wait till it gets warmer. That would be the time to be doing the planting when it gets warmer. Brother McGee said, he states it reminds him of the man who had a leaky roof. And the reason he didn't fix it, because he couldn't work when it was raining. And when it wasn't raining, he said he didn't fix it. 2 Thessalonians 3:10. This is Paul writing to the Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians verse 3:10. And I'm going to just read the B part. It says, this we commanded, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 10. Did you find it? Thessalonians, you got it? 3, did you see? 3rd chapter, 10th verse. It starts, how does it start off? I didn't put the first part.
For even when we were with you,
Paul said when they were there as apostles, read on.
We commanded you this, if anyone will not work, neither shall he eat. Because
Paul worked. They were apostles. They could rely upon the church to feed them, but they wouldn't do that. He said, if I don't want to do anything that will hinder the gospel. So he worked. He was a tent maker. They worked so that they wouldn't be beholden to people. And it wouldn't hinder the gospel. Okay. So he said, he commanded, not he suggested, but he commanded, if anyone would not work, neither should he eat. The Believer's Bible commentary says, if an able-bodied Christian refuse to work, neither should he eat. Now that's pretty plain. Able-bodied, nothing wrong with it. Don't let this conflict with the, it says, does this conflict with the fact that believers should always be kind? Does that conflict with that? You think it does? Well, let's see. Not at all. Because it's not kind to encourage laziness. See how we kind of off track there? Oh, good, they don't have anything, and you better give them this and that and that. But there's nothing wrong with them. They can work. Now listen, Bible Knowledge Commentary says, the individuals here in view were not those who could not work, but those who would not work. That's a difference, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They were not to be supported by other Christians out of a sense of charity. The loving thing to do for those was to let them go hungry. You get hungry enough, yeah, you do something. So they would be forced to do right and go to work. Now that's not love. It is love. You're teaching that person that if you don't work, you don't eat. It's not talking about those that's not able. It's not talking about those that are destitute. It's talking about an able-bodied person. I step in every Sunday, my Stacey Adams, my low brim hat, my coat, and then stand. I was just wondering if the church can help me with my light bill. No. That money you spend on them shoes, you could use that. That'll pay for a lot of light bills. It'll help you. Otherwise, you're contributing to that person being lazy. Okay? Good teaching. Good, sound, solid teaching. You know, all we need is love. Oh, we love that song. But love teaches you what's right so that you'll do right and you'll teach it and it goes on down the line. Now, we all in here older than 20, that's for sure. And we were raised by parents that didn't just let you have everything you wanted because you wanted it. If they did, you in trouble. You was in for a rude awakening because life don't run like that. Okay. Let them go hungry. That stomach you wash some dishes at McDonald's. Mm-hmm. Unless you just plain downright trifling, my grandfather said. That's just trifling. Very trifling. You go and eat. Remember, we already had the lazy man. You won't even pick his spoon up and put it to his mouth. Well, you need to be hungry if you won't do that. That don't make sense. Okay. No Christian who is able but unwilling to work should be maintained by others who labor on his behalf. We're talking about Christians, okay? You got a lot of people in the name of Christianity. Brother, sister, let me have. And there's nothing wrong with you. J. Vernon McGee says, a believer who is looking for the Lord's return is not a dreamer. Oh, I like that. Put your head in. Oh, the Lord is going to return. Jesus said, occupy till I come. That means do what you need to do, the work. Do the work. Getting the word out. Doing the things to help save souls. Do the work. Don't be slothful. Be diligent. He's not a dreamer. He's a worker. And he don't sit around with his legs crossed dreaming while everybody else does the work. Then he wants the harvest. Thank you, Lord. That's good. He wants the harvest. He's not doing anything. But he's sister, go and get that. And sister, do something. But plant your seed to me, and then I'll get the harvest. That's not the way it works. That's not of God. No work, no food. We are to work while we wait. We are Christians. We already saved. We are not working for salvation. Salvation is already ours. Besides, you can't work for salvation. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. If we could work for it, my goodness, how if we boast enough. You know, we've been saved 2 years, and yes, our name is Sister. No, don't call me Mary. That's my name. And I'm Sister so-and-so. And that's my chair. That's foolishness. God has no place for that. Paul, he worked all day and preached all night because he didn't want anything. That's what's hindering the gospel now. People are sick of people driving these fancy cars and got all these titles, and they struggling every day to make ends meet. And you telling them, bring me the seed, give me the money, and I'm gonna buy me a. And then if it don't happen for you, you know what they tell you? That's your fault. You don't have no faith. You need to. Well, you don't have no faith either. It's just you count on people doing for you. Doesn't work like that. That's not God. And this is not popular. You don't hear it you're not gonna hear this on TV. You just don't teach these kind of things. We teach prestige and power and, places of authority. We love that. We just like the Pharisees. He loved, when he came in, he loved to be ushered up front. He loved that. He loved to sit erect. He loved that. But those that are doing the work of God while it is day, for night is coming, and no man can work. We talk about the work of the Lord, where you reaching out to souls. You asking God every day, you left me here today, what would you have me to do, Lord? Ooh. Then I'd ask him if you don't need it, because he certainly has something for you to do. You better not ask God that. You don't mean that. And it may not be favorable. It's just about not going to be favorable. And it's not going to be easy circumstances. And it'll come through what you least expect. But if you do it with the love of God and wanting Jesus to get all the praise, all the glory, go to him. He'll bless your life. He'll bless you. He'll give you peace, grace, mercy, love, joy, beyond your understanding. Oh, it won't come in monetary things. It comes in something much better than that. Much better than that. It goes a long way. It's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's easy. But it's worth it. It's worth fighting for. It's worth staying in the race. It's worth going through some bumps, scrapes, and hurts, and pains, sorrows, disappointment. It's worth it. It's worth it. And you don't know how it's going to come. You don't know where or who he's going to have just call you in the midnight, in the noonday, in the morning hour. Will you please pray? Whoa. Huh? Please pray. Just pray. I need your prayers. I need your prayer. That's doing the work of the Lord. That's planting. And for a believer, it's humbling. You just, ooh, I didn't know, Lord. I didn't know. Well, all right. But you'll be blessed for doing his will. No planting, no harvest. No need you looking for it. It ain't coming. Nothing's, it's just dry grass. Ain't nothing down there. You ain't put nothing there. It's just this plain old barren ground. But if you do it in due season, you'll reap your harvest. In due season. Just when you think you can't go on, God pop up something. Woo! I could just get up and run around this building here. Just when you think that you cannot make another step, God will let it bloom. My friend used to say, her teacher would tell her, bloom where you planted. You know, everybody I want to be out there and I want everybody. Bloom where you planted. That's where he put you. That's where he wants you to bloom. And then he'll do the promoting. Is that right? Yes. When he's ready. But we want him to get all the glory. All the praise. Because he's worthy. You all do know we're not worthy of it. We pray 1 minute, the next minute we think about something totally different from what said. Oh, help me, Lord. Get my mind, bring it in, because I'm way out there somewhere. It's a constant battle, a constant fight. But when we come together, that's why he works so hard, is trying to keep us from coming together, because there's power. Where 2 or 3, is that, I believe that's what he said. Mm-hmm. Touch it in my name. He'll do what? He'll be in the midst. You know, you can, come on, Lord. You got to ask him to come on. First of all, you brought him with you. He lives on the inside of you. He ain't over there somewhere. He's in here. And when we come with our mindset to plant, I'm not nothing but the sower. I don't reap nothing. God does all of that. That's up to him. I'm just the seed carrier. His word. He said some, that cross was 60-fold, some was 100-fold. Don't be a lazy believer. Be a believer that wants to do the work of him that sent you, me, while we have the time. Because night is coming, and it won't be no more work then. It'll be over. But we'll be rejoicing. This is the lesson for today. God bless you.